let's take a look at flexibility and body control. And these kind of tie into burst and quickness because what these things show is a running back's ability to make lateral cuts under control and quickly. Because the more body control and flexibility you have, the higher the chances are that you have the ability to make the lateral cuts and get upfield immediately. And that's an absolute must to be considered a premium running back. To determine body control, just kind of get a measure of, if you will, body control and coordination, NFL scouts tend to pay close attention to a running back's performance in the short shuttle. That's also known as the 5-10-5. The average short shuttle time for the top 10 running backs heading into the 2011 NFL draft is about a 4.26. So you know what to shoot for there. You got to be able to run between the tackles. And you also got to have that forward lean when you're running, because scouts, and it's true, scouts believe and they know that guys that have that forward lean, if you watch the NFL Network, you see them talk about running backs that have that forward lean. That forward lean is a necessity because it makes it hard for defenders to get underneath you and get to your chest to tackle you. So it's absolutely essential for guys to be able to, if you're a running back, you got to have that forward lean when you run. They love to see that. If you don't have that, that's a knock against you. And you can't be easy to bring down when you're running inside. You got to be able to break tackles. You can't be a guy that always goes down off initial contact. When I think of guys going into the 2011 draft that do an excellent job of running in between the tackles, I think about guys like Jamie Harper, Michael LaSure, Mark Ingram. These are all great in between the tackle guys. And despite whatever list you're looking at, I guarantee you these guys are probably in the top 5, top 10 of that running back class, partly because of their great ability to run in between the tackles. Outside too, and when you get around that corner, you got to be able to make lateral cuts. When I think about this, I think about somebody like a Mark Ingram. The reason why he's so good at that is his ability to make those razor sharp lateral cuts and get upfield is because of his supreme ability to make lateral cuts at high speeds. It's something that it's not a common thing guys can do. And the elite running backs have this ability. One of the drills that NFL scouts pay close attention to gauge a player's ability to make these razor sharp cuts, and they really pay close attention to this for running backs, is the 3-cone drill. And the average 3-cone drill time for the top 10 running backs going into the 2011 NFL draft is a 7.04. Scouts love to see running backs that can catch the rock. When I think of players with outstanding pass catching ability going into the 2011 draft, I think about guys like Shane Vereen out of California. This guy is a pretty exceptional pass catcher to be a running back, especially for teams that run West Coast offenses in the NFL. Being able to catch the ball is a great attribute to have. And even if you play for a school that doesn't pass the ball to the running back much, it may be to your advantage to, whether it's in the summertime or after practice, or to try and ask your running back coach to run some drills. It's important for you to develop the ability to catch the ball. Even if your offense doesn't do that often, it's important to have that trait, because when it's time to work out for an NFL team, being able to show that you can catch the ball can be a great advantage. It can definitely help you. It definitely doesn't hurt your stock. It can definitely help it, though, to be able to catch the ball. Especially, you never know. You may be, a team may be considering you versus another running back. And it may be a West Coast offense team. And they may choose between you the guy who has the best receiving ability and the best hands. And so you just never know when you're going to be in that position. You never know when you're going to be considered between another running back and yourself. And an attribute such as catching the ball might be what makes the difference between who that team chooses, especially if they're West Coast offense. And they love to see guys that have what they call soft hands. And what they mean by soft hands is it needs to look like, it looks like the ball hits a pillow. You know, it doesn't bobble, it just fits right there, and you tuck it and you run. And that's what really separates guys who are marginal at catching the ball versus the exceptional running backs at catching the ball is their hands as well. You know, being able to catch the ball and it sticks to your hands like it just landed in a pillow or something. The reason why that's so important is, especially as a running back, when you're catching the ball, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in traffic. And you're not going to have time to bobble the ball for it to bounce one time off your hands, and then you finally get it under control, and then you can run with it. You got to be able to catch the ball and turn around and run immediately, because you're going to be in traffic probably about 85 or 90% of the time when you're catching the ball as a running back. So being able to receive and be a good receiver is a wonderful attribute to have as a running back. Blocking, something a lot of running backs hate to do. All right, running backs that can identify and pick up the blitz have tremendous value at the NFL level, especially if you want to be an every down back. Being a great blocker is something that is a great attribute to have going into the NFL, but it's not an absolute necessity. It's something that can normally be taught, and it normally is something that's taught to running backs in the NFL. So if you don't have it, it's not the end of the world, but it's a great thing to have already if you have that ability, you know, going into the draft and such. So, and one of the things you definitely have to be a great blocker, you have to be strong. You have to have the mentality to want to block, but you definitely have to be strong as well. One of the things, as you know, the NFL scouts and personnel use to gauge the strength of an athlete and a running back is a 225 repetition test. And the average number of reps that the top college running backs going into the 2011 draft, the average number of those top 10 running backs is 23 reps. Reading blocks, intuition, and vision. Now, each of these kind of go hand in hand. That's why I put them all in one category. The top college running backs each year, and this year is no exception, they're able to identify holes and then patiently wait for them to open. You can't outrun the blocks. Scouts hate that. They love to see guys that have the ability to patiently wait for the holes to open. And then you have to have the intuition to hit the hole the split second that it's about to open. You got to be able to anticipate, and it takes intuition, and you have to play for a while and have a feel for the game. You have to be able to hit the hole the split second it opens, because a lot of times the hole is only going to be open for a split second. So when you have to be able to anticipate it and using your intuition, be able to hit the hole as soon as it opens up. And sometimes it causes for you to have to accelerate before it officially opens. And so this is something that the top elite running backs each year going into the draft, it's a must-have trait. And you know, when you're looking at film study with your running back coach, and if you see that he's constantly talking to you about this, spend the time, guys, especially if you plan on being an NFL player, spend the time, meet with him, study it, get this down pat, because it's a necessity to play at the next level. Where vision kicks in, you got to be able to see, you know, holes that you got to have, you know, cutback vision. You got to be able to see the entire field. You know, these are different things. Intuition, vision, and reading blocks are necessities for guys that want to play in the NFL as running backs. And last, and certainly not least, you got to be able to protect the football. The top players don't put the ball on the carpet that often. You know, scouts love guys that have big hands. If you have big hands, that's great. But normally you can get by without having the huge hands if you have good technique. You know, guys that hold the ball properly, tuck the ball properly, switch the ball to the outside shoulder when when they're running on the sideline or when somebody's approaching them, switching the ball to the outside, to the outside shoulder. These are things that you can kind of do to compensate for not having the large hands. Scouts don't care. NFL personnel doesn't care how you do it. Just don't put the football on the carpet. So last but certainly not least, you got to be able to protect the football. You can have all the jukes and all the moves in the world, but if you put the ball on the ground, causing fumbles, losing the ball for your team, you're of no use to an NFL team. So with that, those are the things the NFL scouts are looking for. Thank you for watching this video. For more information on empowering athletes and doing the best you can do to learn everything you need to learn to give yourself the best shot at making it to the next level playing football and staying there at the next level of football and having a successful transition from the game of professional football, be sure to check out GetToTheLeague.com. This is Alvin Grier. Thanks for watching. Salute.